What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update and third stimulus check update. Today is a very big day for stimulus checks going forward, as the fate of the Senate is determined today on whether or not the Senate will stay Republican and Mitch McConnell will stay the leader of the Senate, or if it will flip onto a Democratic Senate, of which then the Democrats will control the House, the Senate, and the presidency soon to be. Well, unless the Republicans can successfully contest that tomorrow, which we will be covering that also. It's a very big week. We're going to go over the latest details of the $2,000 stimulus check and when we could expect it if one of the two scenarios happen, and when we could expect a $2,000 stimulus check if the Senate stays Republican. We're going to go over all that in addition to the $300 per week unemployment extension, when it's going out, and some additional news. But first, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. Okay, first up, the United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson announces a second coronavirus lockdown for the United Kingdom. The question is, could this happen again in the US, as we're seeing record cases and record deaths almost every few days, in addition to a Biden presidency coming in? British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Monday announced a second virus lockdown for England amid a more infectious new variation. That's what I call variation number 2. There's now a third variation of the virus also now in the world. The second variation is in the US already, and rising caseloads throughout the country. The national lockdown will replace a tiered lockdown system that has assigned different restrictions to different regions of the country, and now it will be a national lockdown. The new restrictions, which are similar to the national lockdown Johnson announced last March, require people to stay home except for work. If they cannot work from home, for essential shopping, local exercise once per day, medical needs, or to flee the threat of harm. Boris Johnson's quote is, "Once again, the government is instructing you to stay home." So this is a full-blown lockdown, similar to what we seen back in March when we had our big lockdown, and now we're seeing select areas and cities. The question is, do you think we can see another second large lockdown in the US with new virus variants coming out and Biden being more apt to lockdowns, even though it's not controlled by the presidency, it's controlled at the state level? There is a lot of influence that comes where Trump didn't want a lockdown at all, didn't even want to wear masks most of the time. Biden's pretty much the opposite. Biden said he's actually going to ask people to wear masks for the first 100 days, which is kind of completely different than Trump. So it'll be interesting to see what will happen. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think we should see a second lockdown? Do you think we will see a second lockdown? Next up on stimulus news, we have several different things to cover for stimulus. Some U.S. states have begun paying the $300 per week unemployment stimulus payment. As you can see on this picture here, 11 U.S. states are already beginning to pay the extra $300 per week bonus. And these other states, those are the green ones here. These other states in the purple either have no date yet or have a date in the near future of this week or next week. Let me know if you have received your $300 per week bonus and what state you are from. And also let me know if you've received your $600 stimulus check and what state you're from down below in the comments. This will help our viewers gauge how fast they might be able to get their payments if they haven't got them yet. On the push for the $2,000 stimulus checks, you're not going to believe this, but people are actually sending money requests to Mitch McConnell directly through Venmo and PayPal, requesting $2,000 to Mitch McConnell's personal email accounts. As you can see on this picture here, one Twitter user says, "I'm getting that stimulus check one way or another," as they send a $2,000 money request to Mitch McConnell, which is just too funny. I wonder how many of these he's getting every day now that this has broke as national news, but is probably thousands, to be honest. Okay, next up, Joe Biden said last night that we will be getting the $2,000 stimulus checks if the Democrats win those 2 Georgia Senate seats that are being voted on today. Let me show you this 1-minute clip.
Just look around. Millions of people in this country out of work through no fault of their own. No fault of their own. They're struggling. Many are fearful, and many have given up hope. Look at the lines at food banks. Hours and hours and hours. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. And their food lines, like we've not seen since the Depression. And they're getting longer. Families, children, people have worked their whole lives and never asked for a thing except a fighting chance. Now, they're lining up for food in America. And the debate over $2,000 isn't some abstract debate in Washington. It's about real lives, your lives, the lives of good, hard-working Americans. And if you're like millions of Americans all across this country, you need the money, you need the help, and you need it now. Look, Georgia, there's no one in America with more power to make that happen than you, the citizens of Atlanta, the citizens of Georgia. And that's not an exaggeration, that's literally true. If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door, restoring hope and decency and honor for so many people who are struggling right now.
Now remember, this on screen here is the amount of votes that happened in the U.S. House of Representatives to pass just, I think it was last week, the $2,000 stimulus check. And remember, this is spearheaded by Republican President Donald Trump, even though Republicans are somewhat voting for it, but the majority are not. 99% of Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives voted yes for the $2,000 stimulus checks, 231 yeses and 2 noes. About 25% of Republicans voted yes for this bill, also for the $2,000 stimulus checks, 44 yeses and 130 nays or noes, even though this idea came from President Donald Trump, at least this recent push for it. Now, this bill has expired now that the new Congress came in on Sunday, but they can repass this bill literally within hours on the House. They might make a few concessions to this to kind of make Republicans a little more happy and basically get rid of that clause where, quote, rich people could get a reduced stimulus check. They could change that with just a couple lines. And if the Democrats do win the Georgia Senate seats, Mitch McConnell will no longer be able to block this bill, of which Republican Senator Lindsey Graham and Josh Hawley said that there is enough Republican support in the Senate to pass this bill. If the Democrats win the Senate, then Mitch McConnell can no longer table the bill, and they can pass this literally within very soon, this week, okay? So if that happens, remember the Democrats are winning both of those Senate runoff races. And again, here's the most recent polls. We'll be getting actual results on this here today. But both Democrats are leading in the Senate right now for Georgia. If they win both those seats from the Democrats, they will take control of the Senate. Ossoff's beating Perdue here by 1.8%. And Warnock is beating Loeffler by 2.1%. And the graph has been increasing over the last few days as more and more people are upset that Mitch McConnell didn't even put this bill to a vote. So if the Democrats do win both those seats, we'll likely see the $2,000 stimulus checks passed very quickly, which is really a $1,400 stimulus check because we just got the $600 stimulus checks this week. This is kind of a plus up to $2,000. If the Democrats take the Senate, I fully expect to see probably not 1, but 2 more stimulus checks going forward, especially if Dr. Fauci is correct and we see this pandemic go all the way until the fall. Remember, we only have about 1% of Americans vaccinated right now. This is going to be a very long process. So if this goes all the way to the fall for another 6 to 9 months, I fully expect at least 2 more stimulus checks if the Democrats take control of the Senate. If they don't, if the Republicans retain the Senate. Remember, there's enough votes to pass that. We just need Mitch McConnell to introduce the bill. Now, remember, Mitch McConnell has his own $2,000 stimulus check bill, although he has a couple different provisions in there, and there's no $2,000 for adult dependents and children. But regardless, Mitch McConnell has his own $2,000 stimulus check bill. All the Democrats would need to do, if they do lose one of those two Senate seats, is give Mitch McConnell some concessions. The reason he even drafted this bill on his own, anyways, is because he knows there's enough support to pass it in the Senate. So honestly, he's just figuring he might as well get something out of the bill because he knows it's going to pass anyways, and he knows the push is happening. Mitch McConnell's also on record saying that he knows the Biden administration is making it their number one priority to pass more stimulus, and he knows that they're going to have to pass more stimulus coming as soon as the new administration comes in, which at this point is about 2 weeks, unless the Republicans can successfully contest the election. That happens tomorrow. So yeah, it's gonna be an absolutely crazy week. By the way, if you use the Cash App slash banking app called Venmo, you can now cash your stimulus check on Venmo. Basically, take a picture of the check if you have a actual check, and it will send the money directly to your Venmo account, which is similar to a PayPal account. If you don't use Venmo, don't worry about this. But if you do use this, it's an interesting way to kind of cash your paper check. Let me know your thoughts on who you want to win the Senate. Do you want the Democrats to take over control, or do you want the Republicans to maintain control in the Senate and have a balance of power between the House being led by the Democrats and the Republicans led by the Senate, or do you want Mitch McConnell out? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments because I love hearing all your guys' interesting comments, especially because there's so many different points of view. It kind of opens up my mind to everybody's different kind of train of thoughts. I will keep you updated with new polling results and actual results of the Georgia Senate runoff races tonight because it is so important because it affects everything going forward. New videos every day are 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you in the next video at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.